Hello everybody, it's Randy Hilarski here. Today I'm at my park in my neighborhood here in Panama City. My son's got football practice and I'm just chilling and reminiscing about my 12 years in Panama. Just hit 12-year mark and it's been absolutely thrilling to say the least. So I'm going to give you guys a backstory. If you guys have been following me for a while, you kind of know my story, why I moved here and all that. But I'm going to go through the whole thing and I'm going to tell you how I feel about my experience in Panama and how the 12 years have gone. So let's go back to the recession of 2008. I had just left my job in Tampa. I was working at St. Joseph's Hospital in mental health. And it was a great job. I mean, I loved it. I lived so close. I lived in South Tampa, so it was just a walking distance for me. And it was a good life. It really was. I was making great money. I had great colleagues. I enjoyed working in psych. And things happened, and I returned home to New York. The economy in Florida was in shambles. And Rochester was calling, so I went home to Rochester. Excuse me. Bought a house, a foreclosed house. I think we paid like $18,500 for it, and put about $14,000 in it. Made it absolutely amazing, and lived there for 3 years. Worked a job like everybody else. I worked at a Volkswagen/Mazda dealership and did internet sales. Had a good time, didn't have much responsibility. Life was pretty easygoing, but home wasn't home for me anymore. I didn't have many friends. I felt really lonely. Nothing was exciting. There was nothing to get me up in the morning and say, hey, go do this. I had a beautiful house. I had a paid off car and no real stress. It's just you need community. My family was there, so I would see my mom. I'd see my dad once in a while, who lives in a place called Canandaigua, New York, which is about an hour away from where I lived in Rochester. And the winters were getting to me. I gotten used to that Florida lifestyle. Pretty much my whole adult life, I've lived in warm places, whether it was Sicily. Lived in Sicily for 3 years. I did spend some time in Puerto Rico. I did some time in Panama. And I used to go to Ethiopia a lot. I know that's rare, but I did. So I liked warm places. And one day I just called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm out. I said, I'm moving to Panama. And I made that decision in August of 2010. I made the move in May of 2011. And best decision I ever made. Absolutely, hands down, the best decision I ever made. I came here with a commission-only position, working in gold and silver sales, and it was a perfect time because gold and silver were up and to the right, and it was really easy to do sales. I was doing a lot of internet sales online, Facebook ads and Facebook groups and all kinds of stuff that you did back in the day for online sales, and I enjoyed it. So the German owners of the company, they asked me if I would partner with them along with my friend Mike to start a new marketing agency, and I said yes. Although in the end they screwed me over because I was the American. I did not know that they didn't put me on the corporation paperwork, but that's okay. Whatever. I got to get out of the U.S., got to get my feet solid in Panama and start a life. So I met my wife that year. She was the office manager for the Germans and all their companies. I think they had like 9 companies, restaurants and stuff like that. And she left. She was moving to the United States, getting married, and I was still there. And one day, my partner, Mike, is like, hey, Anna's supposed to move to the U.S. this week. You want to take her out to lunch for one last time to say bye to her? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I messaged her on Skype. Yes, we were using Skype back then. This is 2012. And the rest is history. Found out she had broken up with her boyfriend, and 10 months later we were married. So that's how that story went. So I had known my wife for almost a year before we started dating. So it was really cool because I got to know who she was. I know her work ethic and all those kind of things. And the fact that she was, doggy scared me, that she was always to work on time, things like that. I'm a military guy. I'm a stickler for stuff like that. And my wife happened to be, if I was anal, she was way more anal than me. So it worked out for the best. So shortly after we got married, I lost my writing position, my initial writing position, where I was writing blog posts about Panama and travel and expat living and all those kind of things. And my friend Peter Spina of goldseek.com hired me to do his social media for his company, because he knew I had already been doing social media for this other gold and silver company and marketing and things. And he invited me on board, and he saved my ass. We were able to get a house outside the city for much cheaper and build our business. And Peter was paying more than enough, and it was able to keep us afloat for all those years, for the first 2 years of our business. And we had our websites, and we were able to open up a travel company, a tourist agency, and do a bunch of things. And life was busy. We were working probably 12 hours a day on social media. Companies were hiring us, paying us $500 to $1,000 a month to do their social media. And it was comfortable, but we knew we could be much more, right? And then in 2014, I sold my house up in New York, had a nice net profit, and I took that money and I put it into Bitcoin. And all those years I was writing about gold and silver, I was also writing about Bitcoin because it intrigued me. And I never owned any, but I always thought this was cool. I'm a Ron Paul guy. I believe in sound money and having money outside the Federal Reserve System. So I bought some Bitcoin and made some mistakes along the way, lost a lot of money. In today's value, it'd be a couple houses worth of money that we lost because I made mistakes. I didn't know what I was doing. And from there, we just kept going up. Then we started doing social media and marketing for a lot of crypto companies in 2015, 2016, 2017. And that's where we really started exploding and our wealth going up to the right. So those were good times up until 2018, and it felt wonderful. And then we had Hex launch in December of 2019, and that's when it all changed. And people unfollowed me, all the old Bitcoiners, my friends who I had met at multiple conferences, whether it was in Buenos Aires, Argentina, or Bogota, Colombia, or over in Europe, in Lisbon, or Krakow, Poland, any of the places that I met so many of you, so many of the old school social media or crypto OGs. It was hard mentally at first, but then Hex just took off, and the Hex community accepted me with open arms. I started doing live streaming. I was writing articles about Hex. I was having a good old time. I found a new tribe, and it was wonderful. So what we did here is a lot of people in the Hex community also live in Panama. So we have our own little tribe here where we hang out, we go out to lunch together, go for coffee, we have get-togethers, we're doing dinner, or we go for a walk here in the park. Like my friend Greg, he's on the other side of the park right now talking to some other chap. But it's so cool that we have so many of us here, and I have Hex friends all over the world. So last year in 2022, we went on a 3-month trip to Europe. And we spent a month in the UK, and we had a Hex meetup in London. It was amazing. So many of you showed up. Then we had a Hex meetup in York, and then a Hex meetup in Edinburgh, Scotland, and then a Hex meetup in Glasgow, Scotland. So, 4 major cities in the UK we had meetups because our community is just so tight and so amazing. And then we went to Italy for a couple months and, had coffee with people and telling them about Hex and stuff like that. But overall, this isn't a video just about crypto. This is a video about my experience in Panama. And I have to say that of all the countries that I've lived in and visited and traveled to, I always miss it when I leave. We always come to a point, we have a joke in my family like, oh my God, we got to get out of Panama. It's starting to get on our nerves. We got to leave. And then we leave, we're gone for a couple weeks, and we're like, oh, I can't wait to go home. That's just how it is. I absolutely love this country. The weather's amazing. I got, right now, it's a little bit early, but in a couple hours, the trees will be full of parakeets right here, and parrots, and maybe a family of toucans will come through. These are the things that are so special to me, and the Panamanian people are so friendly. They go at their own pace. They do their own thing. I don't trust any lawyers. I don't trust doctors. I don't trust any of these people. But stuff still gets done. Somehow we get things done. If I want my papers done, like for right now, we're selling my old truck to a friend. We have to get the traspaso done. That's like the changing of the title to someone else's name. I'm paying someone $200. They're going to handle everything for me. I'm not going down to the Motor Vehicle Bureau. I'll pay someone else to do it. So that's life in Panama. You can get almost anything you want done just having someone else. And the costs are so low that it makes sense to do that. Now, I'm not saying that it's only because we're rich. We were doing these things back when we didn't have money. So if people think that just because one out of 100 people have a hard time when they come here, or they can't hack it, most of the time it's the people that are not married to a Latina or married to Panamanian. Everyone that I know that is married to a Panamanian seems to do okay here. I've known a few that didn't last, but overall, all of our friends that have been here for more than 10 years and are happily married and everything's going well are the ones who have married Panamanians and stayed in Panama. The ones who leave the U.S., they all end up in divorce. Or leave to the U.S., they all end up in divorce. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on up there. But all I know is that life in Panama is pretty good. So as far as costs, we now have the 5th lowest inflation in the world on the books. Inflation here is not that bad, even though the people are complaining that costs are going up. Rent prices have stabilized. We came home from Mexico right after COVID. We came home in 2021, May, and property prices have not changed that much since then. Our landlord's not raised our price, and we just signed our 2nd contract. So it's what you want to do, right? We're waiting for rental prices to drop a little bit more so we can buy a house. We're looking, a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2 parking spots, that type of thing. Probably, I think a house like that, a really nice one here in El Congrejo, which is our favorite neighborhood, probably go for about $400,000 to $500,000. So that's what we're looking to get. But if you can deal with less parking spot or a smaller place, you can easily get a place here, 2-bedroom, for $150,000 to $200,000 with a pool and safe parking, in the garage and all those kind of things. So that's what I have to say as far as the best place in the city to live. Here in El Congrejo, you don't even need a car. We have our truck, but you don't need one if you don't want. You can use Uber. We got the metro right down the street. Walk down, use the metro, go walk. It's a great neighborhood to live. So my only complaint really is the cost of flights in the region. So if you want to fly from here to Mexico City, it's for the 3 of us, it's going to cost us $1,700. If we're going to fly down to Argentina, it's going to cost us $2,100. It amazes me that the flights out of Panama City are so expensive. They're cheap to the U.S. We're checking on. We want to go to Toronto this summer, and the flight's $3,500 round trip to go to Toronto. What? Seriously, what? So we'll see. But overall, I don't have much complaints. I've gotten used to it, but it pays that I'm married to a Panamanian. Our friends that struggle the most are the ones who are couples that neither one is either Spanish speaker or Latino, and that really makes it difficult. Speaking Spanish, I don't think it's not mandatory, but it should be a priority. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've rambled on long enough. I've been making way more videos. No Permissions is you're going to hear that name a lot more. We're going to have conferences. We're going to be talking about crypto. We're going to talk about expat living. We're going to talk about second passports, visas, and being resident in other countries, all kinds of stuff like that. So I hope you like this kind of content. You're going to be seeing a lot more of it. So cheers from Panama.